You asked, we answered. We did a poll on Facebook asking couples what are the things that they regretted the most after their wedding day, and we have about 27 to 30 different reasons what people regretted. So stick around and watch this video because you want to make sure that either you dodge the bullet or you make sure this does not happen. Hey guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Jessica Valenzuela and I am a wedding and events planner here in Los Angeles, California. I'm here on YouTube to let you know the good, bad, and ugly of all things wedding planning, and in today's video we're going to be talking about wedding regrets. Okay, we did a poll on Facebook and asked couples what are the things that they regret, and here are the top 30-ish, a little bit under 30 things that couples regretted after their wedding. Okay, this next one is I really wish I had more time researching my entertainment, such as the DJ, live band, all this stuff. And I would say that this kind of plays into I wish that I didn't spend the money I did on the DJ or the band or whatever based on a budget. It is more of you and your style of music. So if you're having someone who plays acoustic or somebody who plays a certain instrument at your ceremony or during cocktail hour, or even if it's for the DJ that's going to be playing during the cocktail hour, maybe even the ceremony, or maybe even during the reception, whatever it may be that you're having to hire entertainment, really look at their portfolio. Have them send you a mixtape. How are they going to mix certain songs at your wedding? What are the songs that you like to listen to? What is the genre? There should be a certain questionnaire that good DJs do send you in order to get it right and to make sure that they understand what it is that you want as far as music goes. Same thing with live bands. Same thing with instrumental soloists. So I would say that if they're not asking you and they're just assuming, then that probably means that they might not be the best fit. If that is their first wedding, that's not a good idea at all. It is very different. A club DJ and a wedding DJ are very different. So make sure that you do your research as far as how many weddings they've done, what does it look like as far as how they usually operate in weddings. Definitely get that mixtape and you'll feel a lot more confident in who you hire for your entertainment. Okay, so number 9 is I really wish I hired a coordinator. Oftentimes, if you've planned like a birthday party or a shower for someone, you feel on top of the world that you totally can do it. If you feel like you're a type A person, you totally feel that you can plan this wedding. A lot of times people regret the fact that they did not spend enough time hiring a coordinator. And to piggyback off of that from what I've said in the past, hiring a coordinator is so important because they are the glue to every part of the wedding. They're the person who communicates the most with every single vendor. The planner goes hand in hand with talking to the banquet manager and the venue and the photographer and the videographer to get it right, to make sure that the timeline goes smoothly, to construct it, to help see things that you might not realize. They are essentially the people that have done enough weddings in the past that can make sure that those mistakes don't happen again. They are essentially the ones who cross the T's, dot the I's for you. And so to invest in a coordinator is essentially important. If you have a friend who's coordinated before, you are so lucky. If you have a friend, family, or friend that does it. If you have a family or friend or somebody who says, I'll do it for you for free as a wedding gift, it's great, but you essentially do want someone who has done it before because there are so many chaotic things that can happen in a wedding. Trust me, I should probably do another video on this as well, on like disaster stories. But you live and you learn through so many experiences of weddings that you've been to that you're like, okay, this happened at a wedding before, I'm gonna make sure that the next wedding this doesn't happen again. And so when you hire somebody who has done enough weddings to understand and make sure that they dodge those bullets for you and your priority to them as a client, that you should invest in a coordinator. Essentially, you will have huge weight lifted off your shoulders and you will feel at ease. You should feel at ease with everything that's going on, because if you had to do it yourself, you would feel like, I just want to elope. And that's probably the reason why people want to elope. They don't hire a coordinator. Number 10 is I really wish that I danced more. So oftentimes if you see couples, they probably do a first dance, they probably do parental dances or cultural traditional dances. If they wish that they danced more, it's probably because they took way too much time on certain things of the timeline. So I think it just really goes hand in hand on how the timeline is created and where the time is spent. If you're spending a lot of times on photos, then that's where you're killing a lot of your time. I think a lot of that has to do if you do a first look or not. It depends on how fast your photographer is to take those photos. Essentially, parts of the wedding reception, like when you have your first dance, when you have if you have a cake cutting or tosses or cultural dances or stuff like that, and how long it takes to get food out to your guests, these all play into part on how much time it takes for these things to get done. And essentially, how much time from cocktail hour or ceremony are you contracted for until the end of breakdown for your wedding? If you have your wedding ending at 9 or 10 o'clock, sometimes you don't feel like that's enough and you need to have your wedding go longer at 10:30 or 11:30 or maybe even midnight or longer than that. So every wedding is different. No wedding is the same. So it really depends on how many hours you have your venue rented out for. If it's possible to extend it by an hour ahead of time to let the venue know, like I would like to pay X amount of money to extend it by this, then great. And so I think a lot of times couples feel rushed because if the curfew is 10 o'clock p.m. and you started at 6, that's like cutting it so close. That's like if your ceremony's at 6 or cocktail hour starts at 6, let's say cocktail hour starts at 6. That means guests aren't eating until 7-ish. And then after that, you only have 3 hours. And that's why it feels so rushed. So definitely, it's really, really depends on the timeline and how many hours you rent out the venue. So that will really help. This one is very common, which is inviting people that I don't even know. And this is where it goes to, are you doing this wedding for somebody else, like your family, to please them? Or are you doing it for you? And I would say that there has to be a conversation between the people that you're inviting or the people that that person wants you to invite, right? Like, why are you inviting those people? Majority of the time, it's a parent thing. So if it's a parent thing, definitely talk to your parents about, like, I've never spoken to this person in my life. Why do I have to hire, why do I have to pay for a meal for them? Because not essentially you're paying for a meal, you're paying for a seat, you're paying for a plate, a napkin, cutlery, all of those things add up. Meals per people are not cheap. Meals per person are very expensive. You can go as cheap as 30, you can go as high as 300 plus for a person per meal. So depending on your budget and whatever the cost is that it would cost to have somebody at your wedding, I would say to talk to your parent or the person about it and say, hey, I'm going to limit it to 3 people that you can invite. And after that, if you want to invite them, then you have to pay for their meal. Or you would have to pay for X amount of money that it's going to cost to invite this person, because truly I don't want them there. And it's just really being honest about it. And sometimes it's easier said than done. Now for plus ones, that's different. I would say that there is a rule on inviting your plus ones. If it's your cousin who literally has a new person in their life every single week, they can't get a plus one. Because chances are those photos, it's not going to be the same. They're not going to be with that same person again. If they've been with someone longer than 6 months, then I would say they should get an invite of that plus one. But I think it just really depends on you and your partner and how you feel, depending on that person being able to have a plus one. And so those are the reasons why I think people regret paying for people or like inviting people that they don't even know, that really don't matter to the couple. Another one is I wish my photographer took more photos of the decor. If that's really important to you, then you should definitely have a detailed shot list for your photographer to ensure that they know and understand that these are the photos that are important for you and that you would like a part of your wedding album. So make sure to do a shot list, including family, friends, people that really, really matter to you, and the detailed shots, decor, invites, bell books, whatever it is. Because when you have a shot list and they succeed in capturing those things you wanted, you will essentially be happy with your wedding album. This other regret is I really wish that I soaked in the moment and just took it all in because it went too fast. Truly, the wedding day does go by so fast. If you are really high energy strung on so much stress, then that's probably why it was going too fast for you. When you have a coordinator, definitely alleviates the stress like I've said before, but again, with the timeline, if it's too rigorous, then the day is going to go by way more faster than it should. And truly, like, you know, there's only 24 hours in a day, so when things do go by pretty quick, if you don't take a moment to just really appreciate and be grateful and just like have that moment with you and your partner that like, hey, we did this and we got married, those are the things that people kind of regret. So I would say after the ceremony is done or before you're doing your cocktail photos, like during cocktail hour, that you really have that moment, just 5 moments together to just breathe and to enjoy that you guys did it. That definitely helps, or even before your grand entrance, to just breathe, because after that grand entrance it kind of all just goes really, really fast. This one is I really wish I didn't spend too much money on my veil. And truly, some people can argue with me, but I would rather just not have a veil. Like if you have an outdoor ceremony, the veil's flying, the veil's everywhere, it's pointless, it's just so light that the wind captures it, and you spend so much money on a veil that like, let's think about why veils are a thing for weddings, right? In religious weddings or church weddings, a veil kind of just goes over and you present the bride essentially, but we're in 2022, so we're gonna say partner, and you hand off your daughter to this person and revealing your beautiful bride, right? Isn't that the tradition of having a veil? No one really does that anymore at all. And it's not always a bride, it's a groom and groom case sometimes. So I would say that veils are just more on the crown of your head and just going down, and that's more of a ceremony thing. I would say that if you really, really want a veil, amazing. But just know that if you have an outdoor ceremony, that thing needs to be like, it needs to be pinned on there pretty good. They fly away really easy. If you have an indoor ceremony, you have nothing to really worry about. Maybe it might get caught in some things, but I think essentially when people are saying I regret having a veil, majority of the time they had an outdoor ceremony and it flew away. This next one is I really wish I had taken more time and research into the music that I wanted for my reception. Truly, if you hire a DJ, it goes in hand. Did you hire someone who's professional, someone who's a friend and has never done a wedding before and they do it as a hobby, really, really like give them a do not play list so they know what artists you absolutely do not want to be played, genres of music you don't want to be played, and give them maybe your go-to Spotify playlist so they can at least incorporate some songs that they know you're gonna rock out to and the songs they know you want. If you want to incorporate certain different generations of music, such as music that your parents grew up to or your grandparents grew up to, music that we grew up to, if you have younger people and music that they're growing up to right now, and more today's music and pop culture music, great. But I would say definitely giving your DJ a do not playlist and a few songs and artists that you like, so that way they can kind of get a better idea on the songs that they should play. And also let them know if you will allow song requests to be done or if not. And it's a strict, like, hard list of what they should play. And there you have it. That was part 2 of wedding regrets. If you loved it, make sure to give it a big thumbs up and then also turn on your notification bell so you'll be notified when part 3 uploads.